Welcome back, Math 8. Today we are going to solve our complex algebraic expression, which is monomial outside of binomial, bracket binomial if you will, that is equal to some integer number. Just giving you a little bit of a recalling. When you see this expression, x is any type of variable. To be fair, it can be any alphabet too, like A, F, G, whatever. A, B, C, and D can be any integer. Generally, other than 0. Really odd times, sometimes D can be equal to 0, like 3 bracket 2x minus 4 bracket close equal to 0. That kind of weird situation can occur, just for the heads up. Today we are going to go through how to solve it without using tile, and eventually that's the method that you should be familiar as time goes, just for the heads up. And as you may notice, we are focusing a lot about this type of equation, so you know how significant that is. It will play such a huge role in not only grade 9, but also in grade 10, 11, 12. Especially 10 and 11. Believe it or not, it's repeating. More complex, of course. So, if I give you a little bit of a steps, here are several steps, but not as much as a tile situation. Number 1, but it is similar. Expand the monomial multiplied by binomial, which is generally on the left side. We need to expand that. If we are not using tile, however, we don't need to draw a table and then combine the tile. We can use what I like to say distribution method. I believe in textbook people use distributive property. I sometimes have a hard time understanding that term when you say property. Seems like more money and those related, even though it has multiple other meanings. So I'm just going to use distribution method. Number 2, solve 2-step equations using opposite operation method. So we're going to solve 2-step equation using an opposite operation method. And 2-step equation is something that was, I don't know, like that. You are dealing with constant first. That is either added or subtracted. Then deal with our number that is adjacent to the symbol, which is known as numerical coefficient. In this case, the one that is either multiplying or dividing, but in grade 8, we are going to look at multiplication part, of course. Have that in your mind. Once you have that, I will use about 5 examples. We're going to do a lot. And I'm going to write those in a blank pieces of paper. Like what you see right now. You don't need to use graph paper. The only reason I'm using graph paper is because that is needed for some other math course that I'm teaching. So, class example number 1. What's our first? Before we're going into step, I gotta create a question. How clumsy. 2, 3, a minus 1 is equal to 4. Let's say we are solving this problem. The very first step that you need to do is, like what I mentioned, I have to distribute. I'm going to use different pen. Oh, there you go. The first part of a step, distribution, means we are multiplying what's outside to each of the component. Oh my. There you go. So that means 2 times 3. A is the first one. 2 times minus 1 is on the left side now. 2 times 3a, we're just looking at the number. 2 times 3, that's 6 with variable a. Plus 2 times minus 1 is actually minus 2. Right side just stay as a right side. That means, to simplify the sign, 6a minus 2 is equal to 4. This is your step number 1. Where you need to, and by the way, right side was not changed, so there you go. What you need to do is making a bx plus minus c form into our two-step equation situation like dx plus minus e, something like that. You are expanding to make a simpler version, because what you see on the top is more complex form. What you see at the bottom, believe it or not, it is simpler form, because instead of 3 terms, you have 2 terms, something like that. Once you did that, now your second step is involved with solving two-step equation. 6a minus 2 is equal to 4. I have to get rid of that subtracted by 4. Opposite of subtracted by 2 is equivalent as added by 2. But you gotta do it on the both side. Then you're gonna have 6a is equal to 4 plus 2. 6 is what's happening. And as you may notice, 6 and a, what kind of operation is happening? I don't see any sign between 6 and a. That means multiplication is happening. Opposite of multiplication is division. Divided by the number that you see, 6. Then, and in expression, we put it as a fraction format. 6 over 6, they cancel out. And what do you know? On the right side, it cancels out. That becomes 1. So long story short, a is equal to 1. That is how you do the question. There's a one way you can double check, which is verify. Verification means double check using a substitution. If you remember, a is equal to 1, that's your solution. You are substituting this solution that you find inside of this expression again. So left side should equal to the right side. Let's see if that happened or not. 2, 3a instead of a, it's 3 times 1 now. Minus 1 is equal to 4. Let's double check if this left side become 4, then that's on the right side. I mean, that should be equal to the right side. So left side, right side, as long as they equal together, that means your solution makes sense. 2, 3 times 1, that's 3. Minus 1 is what you need to do. 2 times 2 is what's happening, because 3 minus 1 is 2. And 2 times 2 is equal to 4. As long as you see that my left side and right side correlates to each other, that means your solution is on the right track. And this is the one where, even though I didn't put specifically, but step 3 can be that part, which is verification. Some people don't put that as a mandatory step because they already did their answer 1 and 2, and sometimes you're right, 2 step Generally, expanding and solving a two-step equations, those are necessary and mandatory. This is optional, third, unless the question asks you verify. But in any other cases, that's what you need to do to double check. And that is what it is. And I kind of recommend you to do that, especially in multiple choice, written response, any type. Verification plays such a huge role. Now let's do example number 2. Example number 2. 5, bracket open, 2x minus 10 is equal to minus 10. Something like that. First step, distribute by multiplying. 5 times 2, that's 10x, minus 5 times 10, that's 50. This is a little bit of a omitting step. I mean, you didn't omit any step technically, but do you guys remember I put 5 times 2x, write it on the left side, 5 times negative 10. You can just use your mental math in that situation. So, step 1, done. Step 2, gotta simplify, which means solving the two-step equation. Have to get rid of minus 50. What's opposite of minus 50? That's plus 50. So that 50 will be gone. Then if I rewrite, 10x is equal to minus 10 plus 50, or 50 minus 10, which is 40. Right now, I have 10 times x that is happening. So what's opposite of multiplication, which is division? Divided by 10 is what you can do. 10 will be gone because 10 divided by 10 is equivalent as 1. 40 divided by 10 is equal to 4. Mandatory two-step is done and we have solution. Now, double checking, which is your optional step, but I'm going to do everything verified in this class example. 5 bracket open, x is equal to 4. So if I substitute, that's instead of 2x, that's 2 times 4 minus 10. That should better give you the same number. Left side, right side. They should be equivalent. 5, 4 times 2 is 8, minus 10. 8 minus 10 is equal to negative 2. 5 times negative 2 is equal to negative 10. I just double checked that minus 10, they're equal together. So x is equal to 4 is on the right track. Now, number 3. Alrighty. Let's do complex example, the one that make you to use non-tile method, because are you gonna really draw 12 tiles to solve this question? You can do, but it's waste of time. First step, expand it, right? Multiply. So 12 times b is 12b. 12 times 4, you can use calculator, but I'm gonna use mental math. That's 12. It's equal to 12. First step done. Next step, I need to solve this two-step equation. I gotta get rid of my constant first. Minus 48. Opposite of that is plus 48 on both sides. So that you should cancel. And when you do your equation, you generally should see something completely cancel. Then you're on the right track. Then 12b is equal to 12 plus 48, that's 60. Now next part is, there you go. Next part is, I have to get rid of 12, and 12 times b is what's happening over here. Opposite of multiplication is division, divided by that number in front, 12. So now I have b that is equal to 60 divided by 12, which is 5. And now since we have b is equal to 5, that is my second step solution. Third step, verify. Substitute left side, right side should be equal together. So let's do this. 12 bracket open, it was b minus 4, but b was 5. So if you do that, I have left side and right side. If I do what's in the bracket, that's 12 bracket 5 minus 4 is 1. 12 times 1 is 12. Left side and right side, we agreed with those numbers. So that means b is equal to 5 is your solution. Why not? Since we have a little space. One last example, 4. What if you have, why not? Negative 6, 3x plus 4 is equal to minus x. Sometimes people really freak out when they see negative numbers as a monomial. Now, here's what we're going to do. Same step, expand it. Then, the way that you need to think of is negative 6 times 3. There's a different sign occur, negative and positive when they multiply. That means it's negative. Oops, I'm just negative, and 6 times 3, that's 18x. Negative 6 times 4, negative and positive give you negative. 6 times 4, that's 24 minus 6. This is a good example of using non-tile method because nobody would like to draw tiles more than 10 actually. Below 10, yeah, you can draw, but you don't wanna. Now we have two-step equation. Something x plus minus something that is equal to something. Now, opposite operation, folks. Gotta get rid of negative 24. Add it by 24 then. Then you have negative 18x that is equal to 24 minus 6, which is 18. I'm just gonna continue right down in here because I don't have a lot of space. I have to get rid of negative 18 in front, then divided by negative 18. As long as you do on both sides, then you have no problem. Then x is equal to 18 divided by negative 18. You can use your calculator too, but in the end, it gives you negative 1. The reason it's negative is because positive divided by negative give you negative. 18 over 18 is equivalent as 1. So that's why x is equal to negative 1. And my final step, which is verification. So step number 2 is done. Step number 3, verification. Left side should be equal to right side. And the way that you do is punching those numbers in. Negative 6 is equivalent of 3x, which is 3 times negative 1 plus 4. That is equal to negative 6. Inside, 3 times negative 1 means negative 3 plus 4. Do the bracket first. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. And negative 6 times 1 is equal to negative 6. Both of them agree. That means x is equal to negative 1 is my final answer. That is today's lesson. I'll provide you some questions. Homework. Solve each complex equation without using any algebra tiles. And that's the one where first one, negative 3, negative 2f plus 1 is equal to negative 9. That's f, by the way. And I'm going to give you some easy one too, because it can be complex. 3x minus 1 is equal to 15 Negative 2x plus 2 is equal to 4. 4. And obviously you can pause if I'm going too fast, right? 4, 2, negative b minus 2 is positive 6. 5, 3, d minus 3 is equal to 3. 6, 2e plus 2 is equal to 8. Yeah, why not? 7, lucky 7. Question number 7. Can you see? There you go. There you go. That is today's lesson.